Hi, welcome to Vader TV. I'm Ezra Roizen, and this is the Network for Innovators. And today our innovator in focus is Josh Steinitz, the CEO and founder of Nile Guide. Josh has previously in his career been with Away.com and Orbit, so he is now a new venture in the travel planning and social media aggregation of travel information. So maybe you could give us a quick intro, Josh. Welcome to Vader, and give us a quick intro on Nile Guide.
Thanks for having me. Great. Nile Guide is the first product that actually gives consumers personalized travel planning recommendations from kind of the source, inspiration, and recommendations all the way through to a custom downloadable guidebook that you can print and take with you on your trip.
And do you guys aggregate content from the community of users? Do you pull content in from other sites? Do both? How does all this content, or how will all this content get onto Nile Guide?
That is a good question. So we actually aggregate content from a variety of different sources. We license guidebook data. We've databased some of our own kind of long tail content, wineries, golf courses, hiking trails, bed and breakfast, things like that. We integrate what we call reassurance content, which is user-generated ratings and reviews from whatever kind of brands and sources you trust. Awards, maybe a place won a Best Romantic Restaurant Award or a Best Hip Hotel Award. We integrate that information, maps, and user ratings from Nile users as well. So we kind of aggregate all that information into a rich set of kind of triangulation from various points, and then you can make an informed travel planning decision.
So basically, I go on the site, I can make an actual plan with hotels, with restaurants, with sort of other kinds of itineraries of events and things that I want to experience. Is that the idea?
That's right.
I can lay out a whole trip.
Right. I mean, traditionally, what most travel sites do is they help you purchase your plane ticket, book your rental car. It's kind of what we call the logistics. It's one piece of the travel planning pie. But really, a trip is about much more than that. When you go on a trip, typically, when someone asks you, how was it, you don't just tell them about the flight. You tell them about all the things you see and did, what you do when you get there. And that's where things like beaches and bars and spas and art galleries and all these things that we incorporate come into play. Just because you can't purchase them doesn't mean you don't want to do them. So we integrate a lot of rich information, and that's why we call it kind of the long tail as expressed in travel.
And you've recently launched. So
that's right, just as of today.
Oh, fantastic! And you have a target audience. Is it backpackers? Is it jet set? Is it in the middle? Is there age? Is there style? Is there place? Are there things that?
Right.
Is it all things to all people? Or is there sort of categories of users?
That's a great question. One of the interesting things about travel is that people, not only are there lots of different types of travelers, but people plan travel in different ways, right? So what we don't want to do is pigeonhole people into being certain kinds of travelers, right? We don't want to say, oh, well, you're a dad, you must be, looking for a family travel all the time. We don't ask you to fill out a form, submit a profile, answer 20 questions about yourself, how much money did you make, what's the name of your third-born child, and then spit out some kind of pre-baked answer. No. What we do is we actually give you the tools to set your preferences in real time. We give you those recommendations as you set your preferences, and those recommendations refresh in real time as you do that to always give you the best fit for what you're looking for at that moment. So within a trip, your preferences could change. One night you might be looking for a romantic dinner, the next night for a kid-friendly dinner, or trip to trip. One trip could be a business trip, the next trip could be a weekend getaway or something.
And how do you guys make money?
We make money by serving very targeted advertising around our product, but what's critical is that we're totally objective and totally transparent in the sense of we don't pollute our recommendations with any kind of merchant or commercial considerations. So when we recommend something to you, it's because it's a good fit for you, not because someone's paying us to do that. And of course, we also integrate booking functionality for things like restaurants, hotels, etc.
And what was it about your experience in the travel industry and the travel planning industry, which sounds like it's been pretty deep, that brought you to see the need for this product or this opportunity?
Well, I mean, if you talk to real consumers, there's just a huge pain point or frustration element out there. It's just there's so much clutter, right? I mean, there's tons of travel information out on the web, but no one's really effectively synthesizing it to help you find exactly what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. So you spend hours just kind of hopping around the web looking for something that might be relevant for you. Sourcing information from friends and family, traditional things like guidebooks and magazines, user reviews from the web. Trying to aggregate all this information in your mind, maybe print out loose pages of or tearing pages out of guidebooks. So our solution is designed to solve that and say, you know what, everything you want all tied up in a nice, neat little package. And so kind of have more fun planning your trip, and then, of course, more fun taking your trip because you're going to do things you want to be doing.
So now you've launched. How long were you guys in the beta prior to the launch?
We launched our product into private beta in November, so it's been 5 or 6 months, and our goal there was really just to get a lot of high-quality usability feedback from real consumers, and then quickly incorporate that into the product.
So people have been already planning trips on your site, getting a sense for what they're going to do, and what's the feedback been?
It's been great. People have really been diving in deep, planning lots of trips, coming back second, third, fourth times for long trips, weekend getaways, quick escapes. They've been sharing with friends and family. They're spending an average of 11 to 12 minutes per user session on the site, so they're really engaged deeply. And they're also really going after some of this kind of long-tail content. They're not just popping in, looking for a hotel and leaving. They're looking at things to see and do, restaurants, nightlife, things that traditionally have never been part of a travel planning product. So they're actually using that stuff, which is really encouraging. All
right, last question. Are you currently covering the whole U.S.? Are you covering the whole world? Are there certain areas that you focus on?
So we cover about 80 destinations with our launch product. Of course, we're going to grow out more. Our plan is to get to about 300 over the next year or so. But we already cover the vast majority of kind of leisure and business travel destinations around the world. So we're about 50-50 U.S. and international. All the top destinations in the U.S., almost all in Europe, and then a variety of others in other places around the world. So,
okay. Anything else to add on the site?
Coming down the pike?
Yeah, anything else you're going to be putting in there? That's what let the audience, let the Vader audience know about?
Yeah, no, their product roadmap is really rich. Without going into too much detail, I can tell you that we're going to be doing some really interesting things on hotel pricing and availability in real time, enabling you to kind of actually check pricing and availability in our site. We're going to be incorporating some of the social elements of not just searching our public database of trip plans, but friends and friends of friends network of trip plans. Okay. So, hey, show me what my friend or set of friends who've been to Maui last week, show me what my friends who've been to Maui have done. I'm planning a trip there next week. I can quickly dive in and say, wow, that looks neat. My friend Bill did this, this, and this. I'm going to a la carte pieces of his trip, or I'm just going to take his trip. I don't have any time to plan. I'm going to take his trip.
I'm not very creative, and Bill does a lot of homework.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like whatever floats your boat. If you want to build something from the ground up, from scratch, great. If you want to start with a template and use that, great. Right. Or if you want to just take something fully pre-baked.
You should bake in Paris Hilton's last trip to
Well, it's that's not far out. We're actually going to be having things like Emeril Lagasse's. We are Emeril Lagasse's food tour of San Francisco, or the New York Times 36 hours in Rome. Those are actual kind of expert trips that we're going to be incorporating into our site.
An afternoon, like you pair a wine with a meal. You can say this museum and this restaurant go great together, or this and this,
exactly.
or this and this.
We actually have a network of 80 or so local experts around the world. In every destination we cover, they're kind of our boots on the ground.
That's hot.
And they actually create their own custom trips to kind of seed our database with what they know as, this is the best kid-friendly trip, this is the best cool and hip, food and wine, or active adventure trip in whatever destination they cover.
Well, that's good. We're out of time. Thank you very much, Josh Steinitz. Nile Guide, going to be huge in the travel business, launched today. And thank you for coming on Vader TV. I'm Ezra Roizen with the Network for Innovators.